Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today a question from listener Mike King. You might be following a theme here, folks. Mike King has asked a lot of questions. You might ask yourself, why haven't I asked any questions? It's probably because you haven't joined the Facebook group where you can get to ask questions. To join the Facebook group, Short Funk, into the Facebook search will bring up the group. Alternatively, you can go to shortfunk.com, all one word, and click on the link to Facebook so you can join the group and provide questions that way. Mike asks about the Mushroom Boy. And folks who've listened to the Stone 8 podcast might know a little bit about the Mushroom Boy. But for other folks listening in, when I was in my mid to late teens, I wrote two novellas which were kind of combined together in a book called Field of Chaos. When I was 19, I started developing the Noble Ape simulation, although it was called Nirvana at the time. And through this, I was living in a shed. It was basically like a double garage that someone had converted to a semi-livable space. Kind of semi-livable because it was absolutely freezing through winter, the plumbing regularly failed, the electricity frequently failed, and yet I found myself in these confines attending university at the time. Through this period, I realized that the raw essence of Field of Chaos was not Tom writing antiviral software for the Australian government. It was the nature of knowledge, whether knowledge was sacred knowledge, whether knowledge was important knowledge, whether knowledge was dangerous knowledge. And also through this period of time, I started to realize that the whole nature of computers, interacting with computers and what have you, was secondary to this notion of a young person with dangerous knowledge. Through this, I started writing a relatively short synopsis associated with a computer game called The Mushroom Boy. The synopsis is roughly as follows. A young boy who becomes disenchanted with society learns everything he could possibly learn associated with creating a nuclear dirty bomb. And then through a series of trials and tribulations, he's able to acquire a dirty bomb and then has to escape from the Secret Service who are after him, as is some portion of society and a variety of the police force and a variety of other folks are after this kid with this dirty bomb who has to make his way through a city in order to escape into a jungle environment, which is very much a theme through Field of Chaos as well. When I was 21, I got a grant from the Commonwealth Science and Industry Research Organisation, or CSIRO in Australia, to develop this urban terrorism simulation project. Kind of gentler time back in those days. The only catch with regards to the CSIRO grant was that they would own a percentage of the development. They wanted to have a stake, basically, in the Mushroom Boy. And I wasn't interested in any steak and Mushroom Boy sandwiches or anything like that. That joke sounded a lot better in my head before I actually said it. In any case, I wasn't going to take the CSIRO money if they were going to take a percentage, and it existed in a little copyrighted piece of text, which I carried around with me for probably a decade following. Then I realised that actually I'd developed a bunch of source code for the Mushroom Boy, including vast cityscape simulations, and I started reworking those ideas with the now Noble Ape simulation engine. Started doing that about 2 years ago. It's been an on-again, off-again project. It's all through OpenGL. You have a top-down view of currently kind of urban environment and, there are agent models and things that I am adding to it accordingly. But now the Mushroom Boy exists rather than in narrative form, in software form. The Mushroom Boy, it does have a slight cameo in the sequel to Field of Chaos, which has never been published, but the notion that in parallel to whatever is going on in the sequel to Field of Chaos, there's this kid with a dirty bomb kind of running around in the environment as well, is, an interesting homage, basically, to the Mushroom Boy process. But that's the Mushroom Boy. Hopefully, Mike King, I've given enough information for you. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.